Welcome to Simply Legal. I'm your host, Geralyn Warren, a longtime Medfield resident and practicing attorney here in Medfield. I specialize in estate planning and elder law. Today my guest is William O'Donnell, the Register of the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. For many of us, our biggest asset is our home, so we are very fortunate to have Bill here with us today. Welcome, Bill.
Well, Geralyn, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me at Medfield.
So I thought maybe we could start with just like an overview of the registry.
Well, sure. The Registry of Deeds is really an arm of government many people don't know anything about or very little. And as you mentioned, the biggest asset most of us have are our homes. So it's an arm of government that I welcome coming on shows like this to talk about. The Registry of Deeds, believe it or not, dates back to 1793 when Norfolk County was founded. I think the mission back in 1793 is the same mission that occurs now, is that we want to record the records efficiently, accurately, and properly. The whole economy, the whole real estate sector depends on the integrity of the land court and the land records, that the lawyers and the consumers, the buyers of property, the sellers of property, the banks that are loaning on the property can rely on the integrity of the land records. So the Registry of Deeds is where all the community land records get recorded. Norfolk County is made up of 28 communities. It goes from Quincy down to Bellingham over to Brookline, and Medfield is really in the heart of the county here, and documents that from Medfield get recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Now, with all the advancement in technology, has this helped the registry with regards to the filing?
Yes, I can't believe I first became registered in 2002, and I can't believe time does go by. But to show you where things have come, when I first became registered, there wasn't even email at the Registry of Deeds, and it wasn't that long ago. So what we've tried to do is incorporate not only advances in technology. I try to incorporate some of my background, some of my educational background. I grew up in Norwood, went to Zavarian Brothers High School, went down to Georgetown University and Boston College Law School. So I try to incorporate my educational experiences with, say, some experiences I've had in government. I worked as an assistant district attorney for then District Attorney Bill Delahunt. I was an elected town meeting member, and my first elected board was a planning board member in Norwood. So you learned what government does well, and you learned where government could be improved. And I also try to draw upon, I draw upon my education, I draw upon the government experience, but also I worked in private practice like yourself, where you have, payroll to meet and expenses to cover, and you bring sort of a private sector mentality to government, and that's what I think I've tried to do at the Registry of Deeds. So we have tried to make the Registry of Deeds like a business. When I first became registered, I pledged a financially sound, efficient, customer service-oriented operation, and the key to it's been the technology. The key, the cornerstone of our modernization effort was bringing a new computer system in, a new land document management system in, and it's allowed us to do so much.
It's amazing. I will not to interrupt, but I would tell you that as an estate planning attorney who's down at the Registry of Deeds often, it's amazing how smooth it is and how things are really streamlined, and that I can go online and do search of someone's deed and find out, like, do they have a declaration of homestead? And when I do a quitclaim deed, I can quickly go online and find out, what was the source paragraph prior. And I just find it very helpful that I can now go online and download all these documents.
Well, thank you for that. And we had a model of what we wanted to do, and it was challenging to put all these changes in place. But when you get feedback like that, it's also been very rewarding, because what we try to do is create efficiencies. First of all, for people that came to the registry to record. When I first got there, when the documents came in, they would just really get thrown in a box. And I noticed when I first got there was like a year's worth of mail, because people forget, in 2002, 2003, it was tremendously busy. And there were literally a year's worth of mail with documents to be recorded and checks to be cashed sitting in boxes. And the new computer system allowed us to really make some inroads. When you recorded, when you record now, you get an instantaneous book and page. So you walk out of there with a receipt. You walk out of there with an instantaneous book and page. There's no trying to figure out where my document was recorded. And that's all because of the computer system. It's also because Sometimes people don't like change. And I got to commend the employees and the staff. You know, not everyone buys into change. It took a while, but I think you know, I have to compliment the staff. And you know, my dad worked for the Boston Edison in a union, local 369 for 38 years. There's a union at the registry, and at least people embrace change. So we try to work with everybody. And the advances in technology have helped the employees. They've gotten better equipment where they can, you know, scan, so that when you record documents, it can be scanned in and you can view them online.
I was just going to mention that to you. I mean, recently I sent in some documents to be filed, and I got back all the original documents because they said we scanned them all in, so keep the originals. I mean, it was great, you know.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. What we also try to do to make, and again, we welcome, I mean, we'll be talking about the internet where we're trying to bring the registry records into people's homes and businesses, but believe me, we welcome people to come by the registry. We're on High Street in Dedham, across from Norfolk Superior Court, which is the big gold dome building. And our building is an older building, 1903. So we welcome people coming in. And when you do come in, we have computers sprinkled around the building. When I first got there was very little computers. We have over 50 computer terminals. And it's not just for attorneys or title examiners or engineers. It's for anybody to come in. And again, most of our business involves the real estate sector where, you know, people are buying and selling houses, and that's our core mission. But we see more and more people coming to the registry to do some genealogical research or to see who lived in their home. So, you know, we welcome that. And, you know, we've had a good relationship with the historical commissions. Here in Medfield, they sent us a picture of the Peak House, which we've blown up. So again, we have computer terminals that are sprinkled throughout the building for people to come in and use. We've also expanded the areas where, when closings take place, sometimes they're done in the attorney's office.
Sometimes in the basement.
It's a building, as a judge used to say about some of my clients, you can't shine a sneaker sometimes, but we have tried to shine up the basement.
I've used the basement.
And what was funny is when I first became registered, there was literally only a couple of tables upstairs. So over time, we did grab the space in the basement. The rooms, there are rooms there for closings, there are tables for closings, and people are, at least who remember the old days, are appreciative in the sense that there's a place to close. Because a lot of people want to close at the registry so they can record the documents upstairs, and then, you know, the moving trucks, you know, the brokers get their checks, the money's dispersed right away. So again, we've tried to make it easier for people to come to the registry, where we have expanded you know, the areas for the closings. But what we have tried to do, as I said earlier, was to bring the registry records into people's homes and businesses. And we are very proud, for the first time in Norfolk County's history, we date back to 1793, to have internet land record research. And it's grown over time. But if you went to Book 1, Page 1, the first document that was recorded in 1793, you can view it. All our documents have been recorded. When I first became registered in 2002, we were at book 17,000. We're at book 31,000.
Oh, wow.
So not only all the books in my tenure have been scanned in, but we've scanned in everything back to Book 1, Page 1. All our old indexes are online.
That's impressive.
And our indexes, if you ran your name or my name, every O'Donnell back to 1900 would come up on the index. We've just, we're just about complete. We're working on a project to go back from 1900 to 1793, so that if you ran every O'Donnell, and I don't know if there were many back in 1793 to 1900, would show up. And some people say, well, that's still a lot of years, but it's only 861 books. So we'll have every one of our books indexed. So we only have 861 books to go, where the whole, you know, if you ran a name on our internet.
And I wanted to mention that to the community, how user-friendly it is to do an online research of your property. Like, because all you have to do is put in your name.
Well,
you can put your
we've tried to do that.
I found it to be very user-friendly.
In fact, we actually recently redid our website to make it a little more user-friendly. So we have a, you know, we try to cater to first-time users, like if you want to search your deed. And to do it, you just have to go online, www.norfolkdeeds.org. That's our website. If you go online, you know, there's no fee or anything to look. and to search. If you have any issues, the direct line to our computer department is 781-461-6132 because there are plugins and things like that. Again, no cost, but sometimes people have pop-ups on their computer. But you can end up doing the research. And you may want to watch our website because we do computer seminars periodically throughout the year, and people actually come down to learn how to use the computer and what to put in and what to search, and it's really worked out well. And again, the access is via the internet, and it's really been rewarding trying to put all the documents in place. So
No,
I think it's made us more efficient.
I think it's been great. As far as someone who uses it a lot, I think it's been great for us. We don't always have to go down now. We can go online, right in our office, and we can send stuff in. I mean, it's just been great in that respect. And I also wanted to mention how you have this out, too, for the people in the community if they wanted to get information on the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds.
We do it the old-fashioned way. When I went to school down Washington, D.C., I had the privilege of working for 3 years in Congressman Moakley's office, so I really learned, helping the constituent out, constituent service. So a lot of these pamphlets are around the county. We make a point. Because of the computer system, we now can go into town halls, so we have office hours at the town hall. And we last September we had an office hours in Medfield, and we go around. We make a point of getting around once a year, so people can come in with issues, and everything you see in this handout is on our website. So when you hear that our website can be used for research, I want to be clear that it's also an information tool. We have information for first-time home buyers. Unfortunately, there's been some tough economic times. There's been some a foreclosure crisis. We have links to groups like that serve Norfolk County and all the communities. And no community is insulated from difficulties, including Medfield. And we have relationships with, like, it used to be Neighborhood Housing Services. It's changed its name to Neighbor Works of Southern Massachusetts. There's the Quincy CPAC out in Quincy, the South Shore. So we have links. So if you want to try to get help and counseling, if you find yourself in a foreclosure situation, you can do that. On our website, we also have information on the homestead and things like that.
Oh, I did want to talk about the homestead because I'm not sure everyone's aware, but it was reenacted in March of 2011. There was a new Massachusetts homestead. So I thought maybe we could talk about some of the changes that happened.
Oh, sure. There are a lot of consumer issues. Again, people don't really know much about the Registry of Deeds, but there are issues like groups trying to solicit and make you pay $70 for a certified copy of your deed. Don't do that. Call us up. We have a customer service department. You can come by or order a certified copy of a deed for $2. And I think it's important to use our customer service department for issues like that, or if you need forms. And one of the reasons the customer service department got created, the direct number is 781-461-6101, is, as I mentioned, my dad climbed poles for the Boston Edison for 38 years. And when you're doing all this modernization and computer stuff, he's like, hey, some of us don't know anything about computers, don't care to know anything about computers. That's why we have a customer service center. And I think it's very important when you mention homesteads, there's a group that's actually soliciting people, kind of targeting elderly, that for $15, they'll send them a homestead form. Now, the homestead form won't be filled out or anything, but don't pay $15 for a homestead form. Seek counsel if you have attorneys, or we have homestead forms that you can download.
And that's something that we do for free. I mean, we don't charge anyone for a homestead. Anyone that comes into our office that needs a declaration of homestead, that's just a service we provide, and we just charge them the $36, which is the filing fee. So that's very clear, because you can get the forms right in your packet, or you can download
We have them around. We've been out to senior centers. We've been to the town halls, and that's what I just wanted to tell the consumers. Don't be paying $15 for a blank form. Don't be paying $70 to the solicitation to get a certified copy of your deed when for $2 you can get it from the Registry of Deeds. And as far as the homestead, it's Chapter 188. residents have a right to declare an estate a homestead, and it's a way to protect. You can only declare it on your principal residence, and it's a way to protect your property. And as you mentioned, there were some changes. Your state legislators should be complimented, because for the first time in Massachusetts history, there's an automatic homestead.
Yes.
Of $125,000. So if you don't do anything, you have $125,000 worth of protection.
And I should also mention the protection is against unsecured creditors.
Right, and that's very important. When I go out to these groups, I say, look, everyone's playing poker now. There are some things, even if you have a homestead, that are still going to beat your homestead hand. For instance, if you don't pay taxes to your local community like Medfield, they can take your property by tax title. If you don't pay the bank, the principal and interest, they can foreclose, notwithstanding you have a homestead. Some people think, division of Medicaid and issues with the nursing home. Again, there's limits to protection to the homestead. And then people say, well, why should you have homesteads? Well, some of us could get in trouble. Some people may run up credit card debt. You want to put some protection around your house so that there's not a forced sale of your house to satisfy debts. I always point out to car accidents. Let's face it, if you're in a car accident, you're going to secure an attorney to make sure you get every dime you can. And a lot of people cut back on their insurance because it's tough economic times. And maybe they only have a $100,000 policy on their car, or even less. But they hit someone in the crosswalk, and that case is worth $400,000. Well, that attorney representing that injured party, rightly so, is going to look to protect their client, going to look at your assets. So if that reason alone is, because we could be driving down the street.
That's usually the example I give as well.
Yeah, you can have all the insurance. We try to have as much insurance as we can, but the homestead is an added layer of protection. And it's a relatively, easy form to fill out. All you need is a deed reference. In Norfolk County, 80% of our property is on the recorded land side, which is book and page. 20% of our property is land court, which is certificate of title. But you get that reference, and when we go out to the town halls or the senior centers, because of the internet, they can give us their name, we can pull up their deed, fill in that information. The law has been changed in one sense. Anyone who's on that deed now has to sign. Before, one spouse could sign for the benefit of others. Now, if you and your spouse have the property, you both have to sign the declaration of homestead in front of a notary, and the notary will, once the $36 filing fee gets, send it to the registry and we'll record it.
Now, how about the seniors? Like now, don't they have an additional protection?
Well, the legislature also always there was an elderly, and they define elderly as 62 and above. So people, again, should seek counsel as to the benefits of having a homestead. Elderly or not elderly, everyone should. And that's another thing I should point out, because a lot of people think it's age-driven. Hey, if you're lucky enough at 18 to be owning property, and I wasn't owning property at 18, I wish I was, you have a right to declare a homestead. So if you own real estate in any form, and it's your principal residence, you have a right to declare a homestead, and you should.
Yes.
And again, some people might say, well, I have $125,000 worth of protection. Well, you know what? For a $36 filing fee, the homestead protection is now $500,000. When I first became registered, it was $300,000, and in 2004, it went up to $500,000. So who knows? Maybe in the future, it will go up. And the track record of the state legislature is, as long as you have a valid homestead, if they increase the value of the homestead, you get the benefit of that. So I think it's well worth doing. And the other changes you mentioned, in 2011, there were some changes to the homestead, but the homestead protection is now extended to proceeds from the sale of your house. So if you sold your house and you were sort of in transition, the homestead protects for a limited period of time, 1 year, those proceeds. If your house burnt down for some reason, the insurance proceeds are protected for up to 2 years. So you can't have creditors coming in and swooping money that is kind of in accounts, through the casualty insurance process. So There's been a lot of changes to the homestead, and a lot of good changes.
And the trust, we wanted to talk about the trust.
Thank you. That
Because I've been doing a lot of trust lately.
And first of all, people should go, when I was a lawyer, and I'd say, look, when I have a plumbing problem, I hate paying the plumber, but I pay the plumber. If you are doing sophisticated estate planning, you really should go to a lawyer or yourself, people like yourself, and get counseling, because it is very sophisticated. And that was one of the changes in the law. Prior to the change in the law, at the Norfolk Registry of Deeds, we did take homesteads that were recorded with people with trusts. But we couldn't do it on the land court side, because there was a case that said that if you have property in trust, you're not a person. Only persons can declare declarations of homestead. So that law has been changed. So if you have taken the time to put your property in trust, you really should, go to your attorney or seek counsel about declaring a homestead, because the legislature now says if the property is in trust, the trustee can declare for the beneficiaries that live in that property as their principal residence. They can declare a declaration of homestead and therefore get the benefits. So that really was a huge change that people should really consider. Another change that a lot of people, and we see it out when we do office hours, and the legislature is to be complimented. At times when you refinanced, there were clauses in that homestead that it could be argued terminated your homestead. Some people would say, oh, it only terminated it for that particular transaction. I know, hey, I have children in college, and you refinance, the rates are low. And I remember saying, well, can you take that clause out of the documents? And of course they have lawyers, and they're saying no. I ended up declaring another homestead, because I didn't want to be arguing with some creditor, if I ever had to, 20 years from now, that, oh, that homestead got terminated because you refinanced. One of the good things of this law, but it only went into effect March 16, 2011. So what happened before is it says if there are clauses in these mortgages that terminate your homestead isn't terminated. It's considered subordinated to the mortgage, which of course it would be anyway. So I think that's something.
I agree.
That's great news for the consumer. I know as a Register of Deeds, and along with the Registers of Deeds Association, we pushed for this or made legislators aware of this issue, and a lot of people just weren't to realize it. Now, if you refinance prior to March 16, 2011, you may want to take a look. Well, take a look at your homestead, and that's what's great about being on the internet.
That's
You can go online. Unfortunately, on the mortgages, some of them are 20, 30, 40 pages. Well, sometimes we don't read the fine details. Go online, take the time to read the information.
Or if they want to just be careful because they don't have the time, they can, for a fee of $36, they can file another
redo another one. And again,
because most attorneys, I know, I can only speak for myself, we don't charge for a homestead. Yeah. So if someone wanted one, they could come in, and for $36, we would do their homestead for
and
them.
that was sort of my approach was, oh, I got a nice rate, people have to refinance for different reasons. I'm just going to put another one on just to be on the safe side. And speaking of refinances, another good avenue that you can use the website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, to do research is check up on your discharges. When we borrow money, the bank makes us sign a mortgage. You sign a loan, a note, and the mortgage gets recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Well, discharges, it's a 1 or 2 page document that tells the world that that mortgage has been paid off. And a lot of times, we've seen a real dedication to getting these discharges recorded now. We've worked with the Attorney General. There's been a lot of things that I think have threatened the integrity of the land recording system, a lot of things, especially by the big banks. So we were involved with the Attorney General's office before her lawsuit, during her lawsuit, after her lawsuit. So we've really seen a lot more discharges coming in and getting recorded. But many times people were either sent the discharge and it wasn't clear to them they had to record it.
I agree.
Or they never sent the discharge anywhere and it didn't get recorded. But you want to make sure, and it's not the end of the world if your discharge isn't there. But you want to do it when you're not in the throes of selling your house and in a crisis situation. You show up to the closing and the closing attorney says, hey, we have a couple of outstanding discharges. You want to make sure they get recorded because it tells the world that your mortgage was paid off. It may be as simple as going to the closing attorney who did the closing for your refinance and say, hey, when that got paid off, did you send the discharge in? The community banks are great. I'm a big believer in community banking. You can go to your local bank. Hey, I paid the mortgage off. They'll look it up. They'll give you a discharge. You'll get it recorded. The issue comes is some of the bigger banks. It's hard to get an answer. Some of the banks have merged. Some have gone out of business. So if you go on our website, we have a document entitled, Where Has My Bank Gone? And it gives you websites where you can try to track down where your bank has gone, tracking the mergers and things like that. So if you go on our website, you can get some information. In fact, we have it in this handout when we hand out. And there are federal websites and state websites where you can kind of track down where your bank has gone if you find yourself that you need a discharge. And again, it's just something people should be aware of, and it's something they can use the internet, go online and check to see.
And with filing the discharge, something came to mind too is when I find sometimes if a spouse has passed away, and they've forgotten to maybe put a death certificate on file or an affidavit, that there was no estate tax due or whatever, then it comes time to selling the property, and there sometimes is an issue. So that's another thing the community should be aware of.
Right. There are steps that you can take,
just to make it easier.
Make it easier. When someone passes away, you usually get 5 death certificates, and most people, don't really do anything. There are things that should be done. Sometimes if you type A like me, you want to get them done right away. Other people, it works out for them. When they go to sell the house, they can do it. But sometimes it's good to take a look at those things and get them done right away because, when there is a death, I know my mother died quite young from cancer, and I remember I was a young lawyer telling actually wasn't even a lawyer, I was in law school telling my dad, you got to file a death certificate and an estate tax affidavit. And, we don't owe estate taxes. What are we, the Rockefellers? I go, no, we don't over. I know. You're not going to owe money, but you still have to file some of these things. So again, it's always good to seek counsel, to make sure that stuff gets done.
Well, I think this has been very informative. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we close for today?
Well, again, we've tried to make the registry, run like a business. It's an arm of government, as I said, many people don't know about. Hopefully, with shows like this, they'll get a little knowledge. And I really can't stress enough, take advantage of it. I think the homestead is a great consumer issue. It's a consumer protection in a way, so take advantage of it. And again, we've had great relationships, with a lot of partners and colleagues in government. We have partners in the community. For instance, I mentioned the historical commissions. That basement you talk about, all 28 communities sent us a nice picture that we blew up. Historical pictures, like I said, the Peak House, and it kind of dresses up. It may be a basement, but it dresses up. We have partners in government with our assessing departments where we send, before it was all piles of paper. Now, once with the new computer system, we do a file transfer protocol process where all the documents and plans get sent to them. So they've been a great partner to work with. And just the senior centers and the people that we meet at the town hall. So we've tried to make the registry relevant to people by going out there. And again, we welcome feedback. We've improved, but there's always room to improve. I know from sports there's no I in team, and I got a great team, but we're always looking for ways to improve. So again, if you go on our website, if you want to email me, you can email me, or just do it the old-fashioned way, call up or write a letter, and we'll take all our citizens' input, because it's been a real privilege to be registered of deeds, and I enjoy it.
Well, we appreciate you coming in today. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for
I think
having
the
me.
community has a better insight about what the registry is about. And don't forget, if you do have a question, go on their website, because it is a great website. I find it very user-friendly. Thanks, Bill.
Great. Thanks, Geralyn. Thank you.
Hi, this is Pete Peterson, You are watching Medfield.tv.
Access to our community.